What's going on, hostile therapy and my hostile therapists out there? Before we do the show today, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and comment during this podcast or during this short video, that is. So I'm going to touch on a story that's been talked about recently with Keke Palmer and what's his name, Darius Jackson. And there's been a bit of struggle on what should be done with this Darius Jackson and some people with Keke Palmer. Now, let me read this tweet first of all, what Darius Jackson had to say. Keke's not going to be unscorned, and neither is Darius, for several different reasons. First of all, let me read this tweet from Darius Jackson. So this is what got all the uproar. So we live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case. I don't have a problem with what he said. I have a problem with the person who presented it, though, and I'll tell you why. First of all, let's go in what he said. A man should be able, if he's in a relationship, he should be able to express if he is uncomfortable with his woman and what she wears. Same way the other way. If he thinks she got too much clothes or booty butt cheeks or breastises being revealed out there in the open, he has his right to voice it. I don't see the problem. Same thing with her. If she thinks he's revealing too much, even though it's different with guys and girls, but there's revealing stuff for guys to wear. If he was wearing hoochie mama shorts out there, because that was a trend last year and probably this year too, I ain't wearing them. But if he would wear hoochie mama shorts out there and that was to get the female attention, probably men too, and she felt uncomfortable about it because she knew it was going to be bad attention, then she's well within her right if they're in a relationship. And I know I hear some people say, well, he's not married to her, so he don't get to ask that type of stuff. I get it. You don't give up everything that you give up in a marriage that you do in a relationship. I get it. But what is a marriage? No, let's just switch that up. What is dating? What is dating but a rehearsal for what you'll do later in a marriage? If you got bad habits now, if you got a jealous streak about you now, that ain't going to change just because you get married, just because you put a rock on your finger or you go say those vows. That's not going to change. Whatever is in you now, it's going to come out during the marriage. You ever hear people talk about when people get money, they win the lottery or they just become rich and famous, that they change? I don't think nobody changes like that. I think whatever is in you was in you before. Money can just magnify it. And it's probably the same thing with marriage. If you were jealous before marriage, the marriage just might magnify it. Because if you got those demons before, they were in you before you even got to that guy, more than likely. So that's my thing on that. If he has a problem with what she's wearing now, then he's going to have a problem with it during the marriage. And if she don't want to change her clothes now in a relationship, she's not going to want to change it later just because she put a ring on. There ain't nothing in no marriage vows that says you have to change your clothes all of a sudden just because you got married. There's nothing. If you were cheating before, I'm not saying she's cheating, but I'm just giving an example. If you were cheating before the marriage, that ain't going to change just because you got married. You got to stop before. You got to fix that before. That's not going to get fixed just because you get married. So, but again, he's not married to her. And for some reason, they didn't get married. They had a kid together and they didn't get married. And he didn't feel enough need to put a ring on it. And That's their journey. I don't know what's going on with them, but that's their journey. Another thing I'm going to address. Okay, the dress. Okay. The dress is a bit revealing. Some people are comfortable with that. And I don't have no problem with that. Different strokes for different folks. The dress was a little revealing. I could get away with that. I don't know. But that ain't the problem. Here was the problem with Darius Jackson. It wasn't the dress.
I said, do we have a talent? Huh?
This is why I said the message coming from him was the issue. Love the message, but the message came from him was wrong. I don't think it was the dress that he was mad at. From reports now, I'm hearing that him and Keke had a conversation about the dress before she left to go to the concert. He gave him kudos for how she looked. I think it was because the dancing with Usher. Usher's an entertainer. That's what he does. He's been doing that since he started, 8701? Was that his first album? I'm not sure. If I'm wrong, y'all correct me in the comments. But he's been doing that since the 90s. He's been entertaining. He's been gyrating on women in the crowd or whatever. So he ain't about to stop now because of Darius Jackson, little known Darius Jackson. So Keke knew that when she went in like that. But I think Darius Jackson must have saw the video. Usher, she didn't exactly gyrate on it. Now, it wasn't like a Janet Jackson concert where she's like all over the guy and she just rubbing all her pubes all over the guy's face and whatever else. It wasn't like that. Darius Jackson is well within his means to feel a little uneasy with that. He's within his means. I'm like, let's just change it. It wasn't Usher. Let's just change that it was just a regular guy. And he did the same thing to Keke Palmer. He just rubbed himself on her. She wanted it though. She wanted him to rub himself all over her, whatever. Would it make a difference? Does it have to be because he's an entertainer that he shouldn't feel uneasy because that's his job? What if it was a male stripper? Would it make a difference? Should he not feel uneasy? Should he not voice his opinion? I think he's well within his means to voice his opinion. And I don't think that should change just because he's not married. But this is also, like I said, a rehearsal. The things that you do during the dating phase, you should carry with you. If they're good things, you should carry with you to marriage. It shouldn't stop just because of that. Okay? Now, let me take my hat off now. It's getting hot. Let's see. What's the other thing I'm going to talk about? Here's the other point. Yeah. Here's the other part I didn't like. This goes for relationships and married couples. If you're going to rehearse, you're supposed to be in position as a man to protect your woman. Don't out her on social media. That's the last place you want to have an argument with. If you're looking for a choir to preach to, so they'll back you up and tell you how right you are, that's the wrong place to do it. Because a lot of people, there's going to be some people that do agree with you, but that doesn't make it right. Do what's right. You know, there's a lot of people who are going to agree with Keke Palmer just because she's Keke Palmer. She could be right or wrong, but just because she's a celebrity, they're going to agree with her. So don't look to social media for that. You should look for a close family member, therapist, preacher, whatever. Or, here's a kicker, the person you got an issue with, you should keep it in-house, because it's going to get nothing but worse. Because guess what? If you put that on social media and she reads the comments, the ones that's going against her, she's going to be extra mad at you. She's not going to get to the point where she believes, oh yeah, he's probably right. She's going to read the nasty comments, not the ones that are just going to be subtle and disagree with her. She's going to read the nasty comments that are going to call her names, and she's going to be really mad at you. And that's not protecting your future wife or your wife. So that's the last place you should try to have an argument or have a discussion with, is social media. So he shouldn't have done that. He was wrong for that. That should have been in-house before she left. Now, these are also things they didn't need to have a discussion before she went to the concert or at the beginning of the relationship. Like, hey, I don't like you going to these concerts and having guys hook up on you and you showing your butt cheeks, your booty butt cheeks out there like that. I don't like that. Get it out the way early. You know, don't wait until you see the video. But maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't know that was going to happen. Maybe he thought she was just going to go to the concert and recite the lyrics he sung to the crowd, and that was it. And then he saw this, and he was like, "Oh man, this is embarrassing." And it can be embarrassing to see your woman who you think, and you guys need to get over this, where you're trying to say he's viewing her as his property. He's with her. You're in a relationship. You're tied together. You should be representing him out in the outside world. It's going to be the same thing when you get married. When you get married as a union, you get married as one. Both of you guys have to protect each other as if you are one. If you get hurt, she gets hurt. If she gets hurt, he gets hurt. So you got to look out for each other. It ain't about your own self. This is where this society is getting so selfish now, where it's like, oh, is this my body, my choice? Okay. So that means he can do whatever he wants with his body then. He can go sleep around if he wants to. If it's his body, his choice, you can't stop him. Or are there boundaries to that? Of course, he can't do everything he wants to her, and she can't do everything she wants to him. But stop looking at it as an ownership thing and as a respect thing. It's all about respect. If you don't have respect in a relationship, then what do you have? Chaos. Again, I don't think it really had anything to do with the clothes she had on. Maybe a little bit. Maybe because the way Usher was looking at her in those clothes. And that probably sparked something, homie, man. And he has every right to be upset about it. I mean, I think I would be a little upset about that. You know, again, it could be way worse. He didn't do what I've seen other artists do to their audience, and when they bring them on stage or go in the crowd or whatever. Some of these artists out here damn near get the girls pregnant the way they do when they bring them up on stage. So it won't the worst thing I've ever seen, but still, homie got every right to feel a little insecure about that. And we're all insecure. If anybody up there talking about, oh, he's just insecure, if you don't have a little insecurity in you about your man or your woman going to do something that they ain't supposed to do, something wrong with you. Then you ain't got a heart. You know, there's a such thing as being majorly insecure, where every little thing turns into jealousy. But this right here, I don't think that's a major point. Again, it's just a respect thing. If you can listen to a total stranger named your boss gives you the clothing you're supposed to wear at your job. He tells you what time you're supposed to come in, what time you can leave, what time you can eat, what time for some of you guys even when you take a smoke break. If it's that hard to listen to the person you love and supposed to respect versus the guy who just, okay, he pays your bills or helps pay your bills, then that means you can be bought. That means all it takes is a little bit of money to be thrown out there, or a lot, whatever. But it means you only give respect when money is involved. You won't give respect when love is involved. That's all he's asking for. If when he wants you to wear a certain type of dress, when he wants you to act a certain type of way in public, and I'm saying it goes the same way on both genders. If a woman wants your man to act a certain way so you're not embarrassing her or embarrassing you as a couple or as one, as a union, hear him out. Hear her out. It's all about respect. Don't do it just because your boss asked you to do it. He don't care what happens to you. He only cares about what happens between those four walls that you work under when you get to work. After you leave, he don't care what happens to you. Unless you do something to embarrass his company, which, you know, people have been fired for that too. So I think you could at least do it for the person you supposed to have love for and respect for. So Darius should have just had a conversation with Keke, and vice versa. Keke should have, before she left, do you think I look nice in this dress? Do you think this is too revealing? I don't want to embarrass you because we're a couple. We're representing each other. Whether you like it or not, we are both representing each other. So, with that being said, that's the end of this one. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, leave your opinions at the bottom. Whether you agree with me or not, I don't care. I like to hear it. And, you know, maybe I'm wrong. This just is my opinion. So I guess I will see you guys on the next video. I'm going to go get some cheese, eggs, and grits. Until next time, y'all be good out there and do some hostile therapy for yourself. Peace.